They were born into the heart of the world's most famous family, with titles and privilege from the moment they arrived. But for Princesses Beatrice and Eugenie, that gilded cage may be turning into a prison of public shame. Through no fault of their own, the daughters of Prince Andrew are watching their world threaten to crumble. As the monarchy works to distance itself from their father, a devastating question looms. Are his daughters destined to be erased along with him? Their story isn't one they wrote themselves. It's a tragic inheritance, a brutal lesson in how a father's alleged sins can fall upon his children. The final, decisive blow appears to have come last month. In February 2026, news outlets reported that Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, the former Prince Andrew, had been arrested. After years of scandal and lurid headlines, authorities moved against the king's brother. He was questioned on suspicion of misconduct in public office, stemming from allegations related to his time as the UK's special representative for international trade. For Beatrice and Eugenie, this was more than just another awful headline about their father. It was the moment the ground gave way. While Andrew was released under investigation, the arrest represented a point of no return. The royal family, once a fortress, made its position clear. King Charles issued a public statement confirming full cooperation with the police, a move that signaled there would be no more closing ranks. The message was unmistakable. Andrew was on his own, and his daughters, by unavoidable association, were suddenly standing in the same freezing cold. The arrest wasn't just the peak of Andrew's downfall. It was the trigger for a crisis that now threatens to dismantle his daughters' royal lives. To understand how Beatrice and Eugenie got here, you have to look back at the shadow that stalked them for most of their adult lives: their father's friendship with Jeffrey Epstein. For years, the connection brought a steady stream of criticism, but the fallout was mostly contained to Andrew himself. Even after he settled the civil case brought by Virginia Giuffre, the princesses managed to keep a precarious balance, navigating loyalty to their father while building their own careers and families. That balance was shattered by the recent arrest. In the court of public opinion, nuance is a luxury the sisters can no longer afford. The association, now amplified by a criminal investigation, has created an inseparable link to the entire sordid affair. As royal commentator Robert Jobson has pointed out, their titles now tie the sisters to Andrew, to Epstein, to all of it. The public sympathy they once had as blameless bystanders is beginning to erode. Unfair questions have started to bubble up about what they might have known. Their identities, once defined as the granddaughters of Queen Elizabeth II, are now being irrevocably stained by their father's choices. This is the original sin they can't escape, the toxic inheritance that now threatens to define their future. In the wake of their father's arrest, the consequences for Beatrice and Eugenie have been swift and brutal. It isn't a single act, but a creeping social ruin, a systematic questioning of the lives they've always known. Hey, race, how it's unfolding. The first, and maybe most public, sign of their shifting status surrounds a cornerstone of the royal calendar, royal ascot. For years, the sisters were a fixture in the carriage procession, a clear signal of their place at the heart of the family. But this year, reports have emerged that Beatrice and Eugenie may be asked not to attend, effectively barring them from the royal box and the procession. This is more than just a change in plans. In the silent language of the monarchy, visibility is everything, and to be made invisible is to be exiled. This reported exclusion is seen by many as the work of a new, cold-eyed vision for the monarchy, heavily influenced by the future king, Prince William. Insiders claim William is calling more of the shots now and is determined to take a hardline approach with any controversial family members to protect the institution. The potential ascot ban isn't just an isolated incident. It's a message that the palace doors, once always open, might be starting to close. Beyond public snubs, there's the erosion of the tangible privileges the princesses have long enjoyed. They lost their taxpayer-funded police protection back in 2011, but they've kept a foothold in the royal world with grace and favor apartments. Beatrice at St. James's Palace and Eugenie at Ivy Cottage at Kensington Palace. Now, Some experts believe even these last vestiges of their former lives could be under threat. Royal correspondent Richard Palmer predicts a reckoning may be coming. He suggests they're essentially just private individuals who get privileges of being members of the royal family, but they're probably going to have to say goodbye to some of those privileges. As pressure mounts on their father, a future without these subsidized homes seems more and more likely. Palmer believes that whether it happens under King Charles or King William, the princesses may eventually have to give up those apartments and give up their titles. Behind the headlines, the personal toll of this crisis is said to be immense. The sisters are caught in an impossible position, torn between loyalty to their parents and the desperate need to salvage their own lives and the futures of their young families. This sense of isolation must be profound. King Charles is reportedly their sole defender within the palace. Royal commentator Robert Jobson claims, Charles loves those girls. Always has. But even a king's affection might not be enough to shield them. Jobson points out that Prince William is far more unsentimental about the monarchy, and that ultimately, even Charles won't go to war for Andrew, and they know it. Their professional lives are also under pressure. Eugenie, an associate director at an art gallery, recently stepped down as a patron from the charity Anti-Slavery International. While the charity didn't cite the controversy, the timing was noted. Both women are now trying to maintain professional credibility while their family name becomes more toxic by the day. They are, as many see it, the true innocent victims of this saga. As the crisis deepens, royal experts are painting a bleak picture. The consensus is that their current status as titled, non-working royals is unsustainable. Richard Palmer, the Daily Express royal correspondent, has been direct. Palmer argues their position is confusing for the public. Being princesses who are non-working royals is confusing for people already because they have titles, but they don't do anything for the monarchy, he explains. This gray area, enjoying the status of royalty without performing official duties, is becoming harder to justify. Their titles come from the 1917 letters patent issued by King George V, which grants the princess style to male-line grandchildren of a monarch. However, a monarch can also take titles away. Some, like PR expert Lynn Carrat, have warned that stripping their titles could create a public backlash and unnecessary complications, arguing their own lives and achievements should be kept separate. Yet, the prevailing view among many commentators is that change is inevitable. Whether they voluntarily give up their titles or have them removed, the era of Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie, as we know them, seems to be drawing to a close. The plight of Beatrice and Eugenie isn't happening in a vacuum. It's a direct consequence of King Charles's long-held ambition for a slimmed-down monarchy. For years, Charles has envisioned a more streamlined, cost-effective royal family, centered on the direct line of succession. In this leaner institution, there's simply no room for non-working royals who carry the risk of controversy. The York sisters are, in essence, the first major casualties of this new doctrine. Their situation is a stark example of the ruthless pragmatism now guiding the House of Windsor. The new mantra, as articulated by Robert Jobson, is brutally simple. You work for the crown, you keep the title. You don't, you don't. This strategic shift is reportedly championed by Prince William, who is seen as even more committed to this vision than his father. He sees royals on the periphery not as assets, but as potential liabilities. As the monarchy charts its course for the 21st century, it's prioritizing survival and public approval above all else, even family ties. So, the ostracization of Beatrice and Eugenie isn't just a reaction to their father's scandal. It's a calculated, strategic move. They are being sacrificed for what is seen as the greater good of the institution. Their story is a warning to all royals on the fringe. In this new monarchy, relevance is earned through service, and proximity to scandal is a fireable offense. This story is far from over, and the consequences for the entire royal family will be felt for years. To stay on top of every development in this unfolding drama, and for more deep dives into the changing face of the monarchy, make sure you subscribe to our channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. The fairy tale has shattered for Princess Beatrice and Princess Eugenie. Born to a life of privilege, they now face a future defined by their father's scandal. They're trapped in a narrative not of their own making, paying a devastating price for his choices. They find themselves at a crossroads. Down one path is a painful association with a tarnished royal brand, a life of whispered criticisms and closed doors. Down the other is a complete break, a life as private citizens, free from the titles, but also free from the suffocating shadow of the crown. They have their own careers, husbands, and children to think about. The question that remains is a profound one. Can Beatrice and Eugenie forge a new identity for themselves, separate from the wreckage of their father's legacy? Or will the name they were born with be a shadow they can never truly escape?